Hey there, how's it going? Great to see you. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos in the past, you'll know I'm a bit of a fan of gimbals, and I've got a new one today, which is a little bit different to what I've had before. It's this here, the Scorp Pro from FeiyuTech, and I'm going to open this up now, have a look at it, look at the different features of it, put it together and balance up a camera and show you how that works, and then we'll go and get a little bit of sample footage so you can see it running. Okay, let's get the box open. That's the first thing to do, I guess. Let's pop the lid off. Nice, simple, straightforward box, and it just lifts out and we've got this wonderful bag sitting underneath it. So great label on the top here, as you can see, FeiyuTech, and awesome little zips and stuff around the side. It's a really good solid zip. I really like that in a bag. So let's just open that up. Moves nice and smoothly, and inside this is what we've got. There's some documentation in here, a few QR codes on a bit of paper so that we can go and get some more info and check them out on social media, and a quick start guide here. You can flip through that as well. It's got all of the usual how to assemble it, how to balance it up, and all of that sort of thing, and also some stuff on how to do the touchscreen operation and some of the specs. Let's start by looking at the gimbal. Going to pull it out of the case real quick and put it together because I want to show you how easy this thing is to set up and assemble and get running. First of all, we've got the little tripod mount base thing here. That just opens up. It's got awesome strong aluminium legs on it, and it's got the 3/4 inch thread sitting in here as well. So I will just pull the gimbal itself out. As you can see, this is fairly chunky as far as gimbals go. It's got a nice focus dial on the side here, programmable buttons, it's got some tension wheels and unlocking clamps all around it, and it's got USB-C on the side. We've got the mode and the power button here, and the rest of the controls are on the handle. I'll show you those shortly. What I'm going to do now is just take the stand, put it into the 3/4 inch base mount here, and there we go. Now while I've got this here, I want to show you it's got these 3 locking slides here. There's this one here just on the pan motor, there's another one here on the back motor, and a third one here on the side motor. When I unlock those later on, that will let me unfold the whole thing, so I'll show you that in a second. Here's the handle. Now the handle on this thing is quite unique. It's got its own power separate to the rest of the gimbal, so there's battery in there, and there's battery right up in the side of here as well, so that's a lot of power in there. It's going to last for ages, and you can take the handle off and use it to remote control the gimbal without needing to charge anything up. When this is on the gimbal and you've got that plugged into a USB power source, that charges both the gimbal and the handle at the same time, or you can charge the handle separately. There's a little USB underneath the bottom of it just in here. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly open this clamp up here, and I'm going to put the handle in there, and closes up just like that. So that's really easy, just to get the handle into the gimbal, all ready to go, and now I can put a camera on here and show you how to balance it. Now those 3 little switches I showed you, so I'm just going to unlock all of those. That's the rotate one. Actually, I'll leave that one locked for now, and I'm just going to unlock the one on each of the other 2 motors, which is there and just under here, and they're now able to swing around freely. Now if you're wondering which way to line this up, that's real easy to sort out. There's this handy little sticker here that says this way up, so you know that it goes around this way. Okay, now I'm going to get a camera and put it in here. First of all, I'll quickly show you the accessories that come with this, which are in the lid here. This here just opens up real easy. Pull that off, it's just got some Velcro in here, and in here we have got the base plate, just the standard sled that comes with it, and we've got a small riser base plate for low form factor cameras, which will go on top of that. There's an Allen key in here and all the necessary screws and things you need. In this case I've already put the screws into the base plate, as you can see here. And the final bag we've got here has a lens holder on the front as well, so you can just screw that to the front of the base plate there and just support a lens. Okay, oh, one more bag which has got this whole handful of cables in here. This is the USB-C to various different types of power for cameras and bits and pieces, so you can plug anything you want into it. Now I'm going to use the Sony A7S to put on here. It's not a really lightweight camera, but it's also not a really heavy camera. The maximum weight the gimbal will take is about 4.5 kilos. That might take a little bit of balancing, but you can easily put a red camera on here, or the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. That does go on there. I've tried it out, but for now I'm just going to balance up the A7S. First thing I'm going to do is put the lens on, because you want to balance it with a lens on there just to get you close to what you're going to have when it's finished. So I'll just put that on there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the riser plate and I'm going to put it onto the base plate. That's real easy. You just slot one of the screws in and then get the other one roughly in place and just tighten them up with finger. You start tightening one and then you start tightening the other one. And the Allen key here fits nicely into a receiver in the middle of those screws. So you can use a screwdriver or a key or a coin or something, or you can use the Allen key, it's your choice. It's great to have another option. Also means that when you've got that on there, you can torque it up a little bit and put a bit more pressure in. Now once you've got that in there, you have the third screw which goes into the bottom of the camera. The reason I've done that one last is that you can get the Allen key through here, and it's much easier to put the riser plate on the main plate if you do it without having the camera sitting on top. So I'll just turn the A7S upside down here now, and I'll put the Allen key in the hole there, and I can just get that straight into the camera receiver, the 25mm receiver on the camera. And there you go, the base plate is all on the A7S, ready to go and put into the gimbal. This is obviously the way this goes up, so that way. And you'll see there's a little arrow here on the receiver plate, and there's also an arrow on the sled. And I will just slot that into the base plate there, just like that. There's also a lever underneath here which I can just undo, and that will let me slide this plate slightly sideways as well, so that gives a little bit of clearance on the side here. Once that's in, I can just slide the camera backwards until it's fairly well balanced on this axis here. Now I just need to tweak this up and get the balance perfect. So as you can see, it's tilting this way at the moment. We don't really want that, so what I'm going to do is just move the whole thing sideways on the back here. So I just loosen off this dial and just move it across a fraction at a time until it's sort of sitting nice in the middle, and then you can lock that off. And what you want to be able to do is just tilt the camera over that way and have it swing back to the center. Tilt the camera over this way, have it swing back to the center. That's pretty close. Now once this is set up and in the right place, you'll see that underneath here is this little marker thing with a red dot on it, and what you can do is you can just slide that sideways and put it into the hole, and now you can see through the little hole here that there's a red dot. And if you need to move this around at all, or take the camera off or put it away, you can come back and move it back to exactly that point that you've got it on and line that red dot up again, and you know that that's where you had it and it was lined up. So now that I've got that axis balanced up, what I'll do is I'll come and balance up this camera axis as well. Now it balances real easy when the camera is down low, of course, because it's right down and the weight's all below the side motor here. So what I need to do now is lift this up a fair bit. So I'm just going to undo that one there, and I'm going to lift that one all the way up to about here. And what I'm doing is I'm just visually figuring out where the center of gravity, center of weight of the camera itself might be. And if I knock that back and forth, you can still see that swings very heavily low. So I'm going to lift it just a fraction more, and if I swing that back and forth, you can see it just sort of goes up and down a little more slowly. And now that's just going to move around quite freely. It's going to go back to the center, the side. There's no real great pressure on it, and that's about ready to power on and test out. So now all I need to do is turn on the power button, which is down on the side here. I just push that in for a couple of seconds. So there you go, this is now all powered up and ready to go shoot. If I lift the camera here, you'll notice that the tripod folds down and gives me a really good front handle. So if you're doing the first person shooting, you can carry that weight with two hands and not end up shaking the gimbal or getting too much Z-axis movement. Or this is also designed, and this is one of the really great things I love about this particular gimbal, is designed to undersling like this, and you've got the motor here that you can either use for pitch like this. You've got a joystick on the back that you can use for tilt or pitch or whatever you want as well, or you can configure the motor to run as focus pull. That's all configurable through the handle, and I'll show you all of that sort of stuff in the settings in here in another video where we'll be going through all the software. You can also mount this on a crane or something like that directly out, or some sort of other car mount or something along those sorts of lines, or on a long pole if you want to get those long reaching shots. So you can put this onto the end of a long pole and push the camera, say, through car windows or that sort of thing. Anyway, let's take this thing outside and see how smooth some of the shots are that we can get basically through my garden. So there you go, you can see that this thing works remarkably well, and the way you can hold it easily with two hands and undersling it, you can get some great shots that are a little bit more difficult to do with other gimbals. Also, with that 4.5 kilo payload, you can put some wicked cameras on here. The gimbal itself weighs about 2.1 kilos, and it's got a really cool trick that I haven't shown you yet. You see, if you take this thing and you undo the mounting clip at the back for the rear handle, when you put this thing here onto a crane, you can control the whole thing remotely. You don't need anything else to be able to do this. You can just flick that dial there, and you can use that either as focus pull or as the pitch control, or you can use the joystick and sling that around. You've got all the controls that you have if this is attached to the gimbal are still available to you here, including the record. You can change modes. You've got the touchscreen OLED on the top. A brilliant thing to have, being able to just remove this straight away and remote control it, which is usually an extra expense with a lot of other gimbals that are already more expensive than this. So FeiyuTech, you've done a brilliant job with this thing. I absolutely love it. I'm really looking forward to checking out some of the other FeiyuTech gimbals as well, and I'll bring you videos on those as soon as I can. One thing I haven't done in here yet is hook all of the cables up, so you can power the camera off the gimbal as well, and of course set up a cable for the remote focus pulling and that sort of thing, and the remote shutter. So all of those camera controls that you're familiar with on other gimbals, you can do that on here as well, of course. One other thing is that the battery life on this is around about 12 hours, slightly less if you're powering the camera off here as well. It's got a 2500 milliamp battery in it, as well as the battery in the control handle, so that's plenty of power for a long shoot. It does charge off USB-C, so if you're on a site, your remote location or something like that, between shots you can just plug a USB-C charger into here, just a normal power bank, and just keep it topped up through the day as you go, and you don't have to worry about changing camera batteries, because obviously you can run that power through here as well. So once you've got this set up and running, you've got a few power banks in your pocket, you can go all day with this thing. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, don't forget to click down here and subscribe, and also watch this video and this video, because they're pretty cool and they're going to show you more stuff that you really want to know about. And I'll see you in another one soon.